Chelsea are at it again. You know what? I gotta give them credit. Like, how do they keep on doing this? Like, I know they're one of the biggest clubs in world football, one of the biggest clubs in England, but they have so many players. Like, the numbers are ridiculous. How do they keep signing all these players? And it's not even just that, it's their outgoings as well. They sign these players for cheap and then they somehow are able to double their evaluation. Like, they're about like to sign Xavi Simmons. Like, it just don't make no sense. Like, they've already got over 30 players, yeah, that they can move between their first team and second team. It makes sense in the terms of, that Xavi can play multiple positions, and also it will be a competition between him and Palmer because they're both tens, like in and out tens. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how Chelsea lines up to actually bring in Xavi, because at the end of the day, I don't feel like they're gonna drop Cole Palmer to bring him in. It wouldn't make sense, even though you can see that he's clearly a great player. He's got good attributes about him, and he could fit into that system very well. But I can't see Chelsea removing the heart and soul of their midfield, of their creativity, to then put him in, to then having to start rebuilding again around somebody who doesn't have any chemistry with the players that they have. It wouldn't make sense to keep Cole Palmer as the engine, wouldn't even say the engine, the creator, and the driver of this Chelsea team, because for the last 2 seasons, he's actually been the guy. You know what I mean? He's actually been the guy who's actually kept them up. He's produced a lot of important goals for them. He's produced a lot of clutch moments for them. Like times where you looked at the pitch and you think, where's a goal going to come from? It's come from Palmer, where he's either he scored a goal or he set it up, seen him score hat tricks. Like, the kid is a great player. And the price that they got Cole Palmer for, City must be slapping themselves in the face every time they watch him play. They must be. They have to be slapping themselves in the face every time they watch him play. Because Cole Palmer is actually a phenomenal player. And as an Arsenal fan, it burns me to say that, but at the same time, you got to give credit where it's due. He went from playing 3 games a season, 3 starts in a season, Just think about that in a Pep Guardiola's team, who was pretty much in every competition to a far extent. He is playing 3 games, starting 3 games in a season, to come into a Chelsea team where he's starting easily as a fit player 35, 40 games a season plus. So that's the jump that he's gone. So it'll be very, very, very interesting to see where Simmons fit into this team, because his price tag is not cheap. Maybe for Chelsea because of their billionaire owner and how much they spend on players, and they're not scared and to take the risks to bring in a player, and if it don't work, they just get rid of him. Chelsea can take these risks. There are one club in world football that can afford to buy a player for 60 million, knowing that if he doesn't work in a season, they can sell him for 40 or 50 million. Somehow, I don't know how they've got the pull to do this, but they're capable of doing it. And now they're about to pull it off again. I've been seeing this news popping up. A couple of days ago, I saw something that Arsenal was in talks or was inquiring about Simmons. But Chelsea came in a more direct approach, as they know how to do business. Seen it over the years. Chelsea don't mess about in players that they want. They know what it takes to get players over the line, and they're not scared to splash the cash, knowing that if it don't work, they can go out and buy somebody else. When you got a crazy billionaire owner like Todd, you know that these things are possible. They're capable of doing. It's not like the Arsenal owners where they're scared to spend 40 million on someone that really wants to come to the club. Then they go and spend 60 million on someone that never even speaks about Arsenal. It's weird. But Chelsea have got this pull where they get players. They are an attractive club. They're European champions, Club World Cup champions. Even though I personally don't really rate the Club World Cup, I think it's just a money generator. But that's just my personal opinion. But the Club World Cup champions, Conference League, they won the Conference League. I personally don't rate the Conference League. I personally think it's a massive underachievement, and it's not even trying to hate or anything like that. This is just and I've stood by this on everything that I've commented on. I don't rate the Conference League. I personally think for a club to spend over £1 billion to win a Conference League, I think it's a massive underachievement. But you know what? At the end of the day, a trophy is a trophy. A lot of these players has never won this kind of trophy before, so it's a step, it's a platform to build. That's the only positive from my personal perspective that I can say that makes it okay, because these players ain't really seen silverware apart from a few. You got obviously Enzo, who's a World Cup winner, which is a whole completely different thing. But at club level, a lot of these players ain't really seeing this type of success anyway. So it's good for them as a platform, for the confidence, for them to build on. A trophy is a trophy at the end of the day. A trophy is better than no trophy. Facts. My only stance is for the amount that they spent, I don't think a Conference League is liable for the amount that they spent over the last few seasons. Going back to the old Xavi thing, yeah, I think Chelsea's got mad pull, and you got to rate it. You got to rate it. If they do manage to land Simmons, it's another positive to their attacking threat, because not only they could potentially have two creative, good midfielders on the same pitch. They're both players who know how to score, got a bit of experience in high intensity leagues, and you can see from a mile away that Xavi has potential. He has mad potential. Leipzig did play a big chunk of money for him. He weren't cheap either when they signed him, so I won't expect him to be cheap if they're going to lose him because of his age. He's still got a high ceiling, still got a lot of potential in front of him. Coming to the Prem could be a good thing for him and his career, his platform. Could be a massive thing for Chelsea, because it means that they could also have another creative player that's going to be in their system for another 5 or 6 years. As we know, equally, if Chelsea does sign him and he doesn't work out, they're shameless in that aspect. We've seen the amount of failures that this club have signed. We've seen it over the years. There's countless. I can make 2 starting 11s of failed signing that Chelsea spent millions on. And they're shameless in that aspect, because the club is rich enough to able to bring in a player, no matter how much they spend on him, and he don't work, and they can say, you know what, yeah, we could take a 20 million loss. Don't matter to us. That's what makes their club so rotational, if that's even a word, in terms of how they rotate their players and how they're able to bring in players and release them so quick, because they're shameless in that aspect. They've got the money to do that. And also, Chelsea is an attractive club. Once you go and splash the cash and you splash the wages, not a lot of players are going to turn it down, because they can afford to do that. They can afford to offer out 6, 7, 8 years contract, offer players stupid money per week, knowing that the player ain't going to turn it down. Especially now that they're back in the Champions League, it's going to make them more of an attractive club. Not that you need that now to bring a player in. All you got to do is offer them a fancy pay pack and you've got them. But what makes it more attractive is that they're back in the Champions League, just won 2 trophies. They're an attractive club because they're one of the biggest in the country, one of the biggest in the world. And I'm genuinely, a bit worried if Chelsea does come back into the race, because it now only makes it harder for Arsenal, because they're now signing players who look like they can do things. Do you know what I mean? Like, this kid that they could potentially sign could come in and make their teams a whole lot better. So, it's going to be very interesting to see if Chelsea can pull off this signing. Hopefully they don't. But if they do, you got to give them credit over it. And Xavi Simmons could be a Chelsea player in the next couple of days, next week or so, because Chelsea don't waste time when they want to sign someone. Don't waste time because they know that they're not the only club who's interested. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this still pans out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.